Hello and welcome to this different edition of the Filmhounds podcast. It's David again, Katie again, and Paul again. We are calling this one, I believe, Reclaiming the Rotten, which Paul will explain. Now, Paul, now.
Now, not later, now. So a little bit of background. When I first started writing for Filmhounds, the reason I got in with these crazy cult people is because I pitched an article series I thought was a good idea, which is you pick a director, you go onto their IMDb, you find their lowest rated film, not IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes.
Why is it called
Reclaiming the database?
Yeah.
On Rotten Tomatoes, you find their lowest rated film, you rewatch it, and you basically not necessarily try to find the positives, but look at why maybe it's not their most loved film, why it was received that way, what it tells you about their film career afterwards and before, and potentially find some positives in it.
Okay.
And so it was a good series that ran for a while. Eventually, I started running out of directors that had more than like 3 films. That was the problem. Or there were certain directors that had like no bad, like when we did Christopher Nolan, at that point, his lowest rated film was Interstellar, and its percentage was like 70%. So it was like, it's not even that it's like a badly received film. It's just the least well received of a career of well received films.
So Paul, just generally with Rotten Tomatoes, how does it actually work for people that don't know? And I had to reread it because I know we rate things out of 5, and most places do 10 out of 10, 1 out of 10, 5 out of 5. But this is done differently on Rotten Tomatoes, which is how some films might not seem as good as they probably are. Do you want to explain that, how it's rated?
Yeah, so Rotten Tomatoes basically takes all the professional reviews of a film and works out the median average of what the rating is. So I think some people don't necessarily... Yeah, of critics. So Rotten Tomatoes has 2. It has a critics and an audience. Audience is just regular users. Critics is obviously critics. So I don't necessarily think people quite understand. I think people think Rotten Tomatoes is its own entity. It's not. It's just correlating everyone else's opinion and then creating a median average out of all those opinions, which is why the rating can fluctuate quite a lot, actually. I remember a couple of years ago, Citizen Kane had 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes until a review from like 1951 was unearthed, and they got knocked down to 99% because it was a negative review. And that's how these things work. And so that's why you get a gulf between a critical response to a film and an audience response, because critics, generally speaking, are looking for something different in a film than maybe an audience are, or sometimes they're right-wing trolls.
So if it's rated over 60, it's certified fresh. If it's rated under 60, it's rotten. So
Correct.
Yeah,
that sounds quite horrible, really. It's a bit, but that's the way. That's what we're dealing with here.
Harsh.
Harsh.
But fair.
Is it
or
fair?
is it?
Well, yeah. I guess that's what we're finding out with this.
wait. And that's why we have the series.
Yeah.
It's also interesting to see what certain directors' lowest rated films are, because sometimes you go into, like I did, I was like, oh, I know what Spielberg's lowest rated film is going to be, and then I'm horrified to see it's Hook.
Devastating.
Love it. Should be Ready Player One.
I'm not Ready Player One.
Get fucked.
I won't go into my thoughts of how Rotten Tomatoes does it, because I don't. That's
a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other podcast. But I'll focus on this. What film did Katie make us? No, which director did Katie make us choose, and which film came rotten?
Came rotten. That's a new way of saying it.
That's English. That's words.
So I chose a director that has become so, what's the word? Not homage, but like everybody knows their style. Everybody knows like it's their film. There are people take the piss out of it. There was even a time when people tried to make their own versions of this person's films. Anyway, I'm just going to say it's Wes Anderson, and it's his lowest rated film on Rotten Tomatoes is The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, starring Bill Murray.
A Wes Anderson film starring Bill Murray. There's some revolutionary shit, man. I'm
Okay, look,
intrigued.
every director has their pet actor, and Bill Murray is Wes Anderson's lucky charm. And
You
I'm
He's got
know,
saying
quite a
that,
few, to be fair.
it's
well,
it's like a zoo, isn't
I
it? He's he's got not a pet actor. He's got a zoo of
He
actors.
does. Like, people had a
he
go at James
does.
Gunn for casting the same people, and it's like Wes Anderson keeps all these Oscar darlings in a pen. And he's like, I'll have Adrian Brody, and I'll have Willem Dafoe, and I'll have Jeff Goldblum, and I'll have Bill Murray, and I'll have a Schwartzman.
They all want to work with him, so you can't knock it. You know, they all want to be in a Wes Anderson film, whether or not it's got low rating on Rotten Tomatoes. People still want to work with him, so you can't begrudge him that.
Even if he's lost his way.
With this feature, then, are we looking at? So we've obviously all seen the film. Katie's favorite director. I'd never seen it before. Paul, have you seen it before? Did you rewatch
I
it? What
I
do you?
had seen it before. I skimmed it because I
Oh,
remember it. I remember it, and also,
What?
also weird bit of Paul trivia. I was gifted the screenplay back in like 2004 because I wanted to write screenplays, and the best way to learn how to write screenplays is to read screenplays. So I read the screenplay before I saw the film. I didn't see the film for another 2 years, and when I did, I was like, I kind of pictured it looking different.
hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
I, I like
No Royal Tenenbaums.
I like Wes Anderson, but I've never gone out of my way to watch all of his films. I'm slowly getting through them. So, like I said, I hadn't seen it, and like you said, recently he's been parodied a lot because
That's it.
he's
Parodied. Sorry,
got.
that's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
I was just because I said about whatever I said and you laughed at me, so I was trying to get you back because I can I can know words.
Okay,
uh,
rotten. Yeah.
I
became
do
rougher.
speak good.
Yeah, I do speak good. But
Me
this
fail
is
English? That's impossible.
so. So these his more recent films that are that's his style. You know what you're going to expect now. It has become a bit of a chore because you know what you're going to expect. There's no surprises. I personally think I like them still, but I'm not going to go out my way to see them. Whereas this, I can see. How old is it? Like 21 years old. You can see some. You see it for men. Just hit my microphone. Sorry. You can see it for men, but it's not there, and it's a bit rawer in a good way.
So I would agree, yes, he's become parodied too much, and some would say he's a parody of himself now. I should, full disclosure, I've not seen the Phoenician Scheme, and I'm still devastated about it, even though people have said it's not that great, but it's okay. I still want to see it because I need to complete my Wes Anderson collection in my mind. But I would say that Steve Zissou is as his fourth film. I wouldn't say he's raw, but this
Well,
is
raw.
where he sort of is springboarding into his massive ensemble cast. And I think one of my theories as to why for his next film he did Darjeeling Limited, which was scaled back to an extent, I think he was trying to go full Wes Anderson too early. And I think he needed to do some of those much more smaller grounded films before he went full massive long cast of names that never ends.
I would say that the problem with Steve Zissou is that it came out before he was canonized as the great director. Because nowadays, I mean, like, I've not seen Phoenician Scheme, fair enough. I did see Asteroid City. I did see the newspaper one. And for me, I just think it's people are like, oh, it's pure Wes Anderson. It's like, well, is that a good or bad thing? Well, it's very Wes Anderson. Yeah, but is that good or bad? Well, it's got all his hallmarks. It's like, okay, but again, Is it? It's like going, it's a chocolate cake. Okay, but is it a nice chocolate cake? Well, it's chocolatey. Is that good or bad? It's cakey. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, but is that good or bad? Like, is it nice or is it not nice? Well, it's got sponge, and
Uh,
it's
yeah.
definitely fluffy. Like, I feel like nowadays people would love Steve Zissou because they're like, it's so Wes Anderson. It's like, yeah, but like, is it good though?
I I actually watched the Phoenician Scheme the night before I watched this, just
You
so
done more homework than me.
um you know, I want the A. I want but I
You're not going
just
to get
so
it in English.
it was like I said, what you expect. There was a couple of really nice shots though, which obviously expect that, but it was an unexpected shot, like at the very start. But I would go into Life Aquatic. It was you could see it coming in, like I said, the styling. But I feel like the best parts of this film for me are the bits where there is more of the character stuff with a bit of heart to it. And occasionally I felt like with this film, it was a bit distracting. The stylized parts with it's quite funny a little bit, but the fish, like, it looks a bit like Pee-wee's Playhouse. And really, I was watching it, and even though there's the massive cast, Bill Murray is a star in this. It is his film, and the more it went on, the more you get to the subtleties of his character and what he wants and his regrets. I thought those were the bits that made the film, whereas the bits where it is overly stylized, a bit too focused on the silly humor, it didn't work as well.
I get what you mean about the more the character study moments where it is more about Zissou, and those are the ones that hit better than the you know I think there's like you said, there's amazing shots. You know when they cut the boat in half and you can see basically like what's going on in each room, and you can
Hmm.
see what each function, like what room is for, and they see all the different characters all around the boat. I love all of that because I like detail and I like to see bits and pieces of what's going on. That's like a personal preference for me,
Hmm.
but that's also something that Wes Anderson does. He gives you a section. He'll show the whole section of what's happening in the entire shot, rather than what other directors probably would do is you'd have the camera in the boat and you'd have the boat as a whole, if that makes sense. You wouldn't have this like cross
Hmm.
section. You would just have somebody. So I feel like Wes Anderson has a style, and yes, it's been parodied, and yes, it's overblown, and yet the character parts are more interesting. But I'd say that Life Aquatic is unlike his other films completely.
Hmm.
You can see it's like the start of him trying to go big, and it's the start of him with a massive ensemble, but at the heart of it, it's still about this one character as the main character. And I'm trying to put into a coherent sentence about how why this is different from anything else. It's probably to do with the fact that there's a film crew, a documentary film crew that is filming at the same time as everything's being filmed. So it feels like it's inside of itself. Like I feel
Yeah.
like he was stepping a bit too far into what he was trying to achieve. Like, and you know, the moments when the crew are like sitting watching their own documentary series, for instance,
Yeah.
and you can see some of the cast like being recast as like younger versions of themselves. I feel like this type of story about a documentarian and about him trying to get revenge for the death of his best friend, but at the same time, it's about documentary crew that have been together for years and years, and they've worked together like on all these other projects. It would have worked far better as maybe a TV format, and it wasn't quite ready for a film. Or this felt like it could have been the finale to a series, if that makes sense. So I feel
Yeah.
like it
More
was
of
a
a
big,
background.
yeah, it's a big ambitious step too early, but
Yeah.
still good concept.
Yeah. I just think going back to Phoenician Scheme, uh, one thing that I preferred for this film, Life Aquatic, over the Phoenician Scheme and his more recent films, is just the speech patterns is really jarring. I feel like that I find quite irritating. So the visuals are the things that make it, whereas this was a more of a better balance with the visuals and the speech and the scripting, I guess, and them talking is more natural. Whereas like Phoenician Scheme and Asteroid City was, I found it just the pauses and it's like it's, I guess it is very shallow. Maybe it's supposed to be. It is supposed to be all visual, but it seems really shallow.
I was going to say, just on Asteroid City, I would say that also sets itself apart from all of his other films, but it didn't hit correctly, in my opinion. It didn't hit right. Whereas I feel like Steve Zissou did hit right, but it was at the time too much of a big step. That made sense.
Too soon.
And
Yeah.
too soon. It was like if he had made Life Aquatic now, I think it would have been perfect. And Asteroid City, I think, was just a massive swing and a big miss. But again, personal preference. On the speech patterns, I was just going to say, the speech patterns is because everybody who comes in now knows that if you're in a Wes Anderson film, you talk like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well, like when you look at Life Aquatic in his career path, he's gone from, what was it, Bottle Rocket, great little indie, good calling card. Then he does Rushmore, really great, like again, cult kind of film. You know, dorm room posters. Like the Rushmore poster is one of the ones you see in film dorms across the world. Then he does Royal Tenenbaums, which is like the big movie that's got, it's got Gene Hackman in it. It's like got the big guy. He's the big movie star. It's got, you know, Oscar nominations and Golden Globe nominations, and everyone loves it. And so when you do that, when you have that boom, 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 the next film is like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And so because it wasn't maybe in league with the Royal Tenenbaums in terms of its sort of character work and stuff like that, it's its own thing. I think that's maybe why it was received so maybe poorly, because the whole Tenenbaums thing is that it's still people's favorite Wes Anderson. People love it. It's still, again, another one that people go back to time and time again. And I think I actually think that Royal Tenenbaums kind of screwed him over a bit for a while, because everyone would be like, Darjeeling Limited's good, ain't no Tenenbaums. And then he did Grand Budapest Hotel, and that was maybe like, again, the bigger mainstream movie that he hadn't had for a while.
I was going to say, actually, there's two things I was going to say, but Moonrise Kingdom, I think, is what brought him back. Because I think that was when we go, oh, actually, this is really good. And a little bit unlike his other films that he's come before. It tried to stretch out a bit. But that's not the point I was going to make. I was going to say the comparison that you just made reminds me of another two films that came, two films from other directors. So Coen Brothers, Fargo comes out, everyone loves it, nominations galore. Then they follow it up with The Big Lebowski, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is this?" Yet it's a cult film. Everybody loves The Big Lebowski. It's one of my favorite Coen Brothers. And I feel like Life Aquatic is having that same that kind of same reaction. Like people didn't appreciate it at the time because they were like, "What the fuck is this?" And then realized later on with rewatching and like, you know, appreciation, like time goes by, you go, actually, this film is really good. Because I have to say, when I first saw The Life Aquatic, I hated it. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? And then I rewatched it and I absolutely loved it. And I was like, I love everything about this. This film is great. Why do people hate it? But in retrospect, I can understand why, because look what happened to The Big Lebowski. You know?
I think I was going to say, I think as well, in terms of when you talk about like casting, I think the better films he has maybe do something daring with casting. So you think about like, obviously, like Bottle Rocket and Rushmore, fine. And then you got like Gene Hackman in Tenenbaums is like, oh, Gene Hackman's funny. Oh, he's like actually really funny. He's got a good thing for comedy. And then with Steve Zissou, it's like Bill Murray's playing this kind of not nasty, but kind of arrogant, unlikable type figure. It's like, so Bill Murray. Yeah, and Angelica Houston plays this cool, calculating wife. so Angelica Houston. Jeff Goldblum is this louche kind of smarmy guy. Yeah, is that not just Jeff Goldblum? Is that not who he is? Is he not louche himself? Jeff Goldblum is always at like a 90-degree angle, and then
That's a
like
great
the other
point.
ones,
Sorry, I was just going to agree with you. Yeah.
yeah, and and like even like Willem Dafoe's like Willem Dafoe's playing a weird role. It's like, yeah, is that again? Even Owen Wilson is playing the wow, I'm Owen Wilson. What you talking about, Steve Zissou? I don't know. Whereas when you get to like Moonrise Kingdom, and you get Bruce Willis, and it's like, oh, Bruce Willis is doing something a little bit different. I've never seen Bruce Willis like this. And even Grand Budapest would be my favorite of the Wes Andersons. But again, Ralph Fiennes in kind of a slapstick comedy role. You don't see Ralph Fiennes. I mean, you do now, but that was kind of the first time he'd done light comedy. He's like Schindler's List, End of the Affair, and suddenly he's doing the. Are you going over there? And then if you go over there, could you go to room number 7? And if you do this and that, and there's that great bit where he does what is it? He talks about having sex with like a 80-year-old woman. He's like, she's 80 years old. I've had older. So I think the problem with Steve Zissou in a way is that maybe if Steve Zissou was played by not Bill Murray, if that role had gone to somebody who maybe didn't, like if it went to like Harrison Ford, and it's like, I've never really seen Harrison Ford do kind of like a light comedy.
That would be good.
I don't know.
And I think that his better ones have something a bit different about the casting. I think that would have been Bill Murray playing someone kind of unlikable. It's like Bill Murray is unlikable. That's kind of why I like him, because he's kind of a dick.
But I think I agree with what you're saying, but I think that he was perfectly cast for this, and it works really well.
It was clearly written for him, definitely.
Yeah. He's very cool.
I was going to say, in that theory, though, shouldn't Venetian Scheme have worked better with Benicio del Toro? Yes, he played that weirdo in the French Dispatch, which I loved that segment of the film, but it was still just a segment. He wasn't taking center stage.
Possibly.
But the French Dispatch was very good. That's the last, a few films ago now, but I really liked it. As I always say, low expectations. So I came out, loved it. And also there was, separate from that, there was an exhibition along the Thames. Did you go to that? That was really impressive.
They did one for Asteroid City, but it wasn't as good. But I think it's because Asteroid City, the film, isn't as good as French Dispatch, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't go, but I enjoyed it all. Like I said, the exhibition, but I didn't really enjoy Asteroid City, so I had no interest in going to see a desert or wherever it was set.
But I feel like, as I said, this is leaning away from Steve Zissou, but Asteroid City was a Trojan horse. You think you're going to watch one film, but you're not. You're watching something completely different, and it's not well done, and it's so indulgent. And there's far too many people in it, just characters-wise. There's far too many people in Asteroid City to make it something you can engage with, because people are only on the screen for like a minute or two, and then they're gone, and it moves on to somebody else. There's just too many people to latch onto in that one.
Is this a new point? Is this a new thing for his? Because the last couple of films, he's had famous actresses' daughters. Has he done that in the past? I'm avoiding the
Angelica Houston, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay, so it's a thing.
Oh yeah, I was like Gwyneth Paltrow. I was like, oh yes, of course.
Blythe Danner and Bruce Paltrow. But like, I think as well, like Asteroid City, I was quite excited for Asteroid City because I was like, Tom Hanks, I'm up for this. Tom Hanks and a Wes Anderson, that's quite good because he's quite a good comedian. And also I was a bit like, he'll slot right in with the Wes Anderson vibe. See, Tom Hanks as Steve Zissou would have been an interesting choice. Again, Tom Hanks has a good facility for comedy, but doesn't always play that kind of grouch. I mean, he did in A Man Called Otto, but too little, too late.
I think you were right with Harrison Ford when you mentioned that as a suggestion.
That is the what if. That is the multiversal casting I'd love to. Harrison Ford, I'm gonna kill this fucking fish. I would have loved it.
Cool. With AI, you can probably do it in about 5 minutes if you wanted to. Also, just going back to my cinema experiences, watching that film generally, Asteroid City, I didn't like the film. The cinema didn't turn the lights off, and it was baking hot. I just remember that thinking, this is the worst experience
and it's about a desert as well.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Yeah,
realistic.
yeah,
I think
just living
I
it.
think with Wes Anderson, it might just be that his style is getting a little played out. Like I get he's got a style, but like the Coens have a style, but they still do stuff with it. They don't necessarily just make Big Lebowski again, but this time it's on a farm. Big Lebowski, but this time it's set in an English. But like they do different. Like Fargo is not Big Lebowski. Miller's Crossing is not Big Lebowski. No Country for Old Men is definitely not Big Lebowski. So they do different stuff within their kind of. They've got that kind of style, but they do different stuff with it. Whereas Wes Anderson, I feel like he plays the same note over and over again.
He does, and he also has the same theme running in almost every single film. And there was a
And
whole art exhibition about this, where there was loads of people who did like art inspired by the films, and there was a book as well released by the same people who do the Wes Anderson collection books. And it's Bad Dads. There is a
yeah,
bad dad in
Mm.
almost every single film. It's either a dad or a dad figure or a father figure
yeah,
who is
yeah,
bad.
yeah. A
His
bit like
last film
Spielberg.
as well.
Get over your parents' divorce, Spielberg. Okay, dad's leave.
Spielberg.
Fucking get over. Yeah, Spielberg's got the same thing with the dads. It's like, yeah, I get it. Your dad left. Fucking grow a pair, man. Stop making billion-dollar movies by going, yeah, but my dad left the house. It's like, all right, but can we get back to the dinosaurs, please? And Wes Anderson is a bit like, I think maybe just call him. It would be cheaper. It would just be cheaper to get therapy.
Mm.
Yeah, but you kind of change the setting, you change the era, you change the outfits, you change the
It's
genre
not the same film.
slightly.
It's set in a
Yeah.
hotel this time. It's a different movie. It's not the same film. It's about a fox. There we go.
Well,
See?
I would argue that Grand Budapest Hotel might be maybe an exception because, or unless you want to count Ray Fiennes as being sort of like a father figure to Zero, but I don't know. That's a fine line. I was going to say Grand Budapest Hotel would probably not fit in with that.
Yeah. But it's when you say about his style being parodied, I do have to flag. Have you seen the Saturday Night Live sketch of a Wes Anderson horror film? They do a fake trailer for a Wes Anderson horror film called The Midnight Coterie of Sinister Intruders. And it's
I
all
think
about
so.
like it's like if it was a slasher film but set in a Wes Anderson film with like Edward Norton plays Owen Wilson. And they're like, dear homeowners, can we murder you? The intruders. Dear intruders, no, you may not. The homeowners. It's like, oh, they got you good, Wes Anderson, because that is exactly what your film would be.
But there was I think it reached a point where I was like, I'm like, I still love Wes Anderson, but I hate this trend where people were making reels where it was done in a Wes Anderson style.
I saw Michael
And
Barrymore did one.
yes, everybody did it for like a very short period of time. But I was like, please let
Michael
this trend
Barrymore.
die. Yeah, Michael Barrymore.
Yeah. Uh, so going back to like the ratings of his lowest film.
Yes.
So I looked. So if we're going on the divide of what was it? 60% is a good film.
60%.
Under is rotten. This film is rated rotten. So I would say on that basis of being black and white under that, I think that's unfair to call it a rotten film.
I think so.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Obviously
I,
means nothing really, but
It means everything that
yeah,
all
it does.
three of us said. It's not rotten. Like,
no, because
I feel like we all, I don't know about you, but I feel like there is another film that should have been his worst, that should have been rated worst.
Darjeeling
Oh
Limited.
no.
Asteroid City.
Asteroid City is one of his worst,
Oh,
I'd say.
I think Darjeeling Limited's worse. I found it
Darjeeling
so
Limited's
boring.
a beautiful film. How could you say that?
Not a
Okay.
fan. Not a fan. I also controversial. I don't like Fantastic Mr. Fox,
Oh, jeez.
and I love the book, but I don't like the film. I'm like,
George,
the problem is
George
he's
Clooney.
not. No,
No,
well, yeah, but no. The problem is that I just don't think Wes Anderson's style fits Roald Dahl. I don't think his style of filmmaking. There's something about Roald Dahl that just doesn't fit the overly arch, esoteric. Oh, hello, I'm in a Wes Anderson film, and I'm going to look at the camera a little bit too long, and everyone's going to chuckle away.
You're talking about
was
the
not
short films, right?
well, just all of it. No, I'm not. But I just think he doesn't suit Roald Dahl in the way that Tim Burton, I actually do think does, and that's why I think like when you think about like James and the Giant Peach, which Burton produced and Henry Selick directed, I think that captures the style of Roald Dahl better than I felt. Fantastic Mr. Fox was very smug, and I was a bit like,
But
Roald Dahl.
Fantastic Mr. Fox is smug.
He
That's the
is.
But
point.
That's the
yeah, but he's
exactly
no,
that.
but
Yeah.
no, but he's not it's a different type of smug. Also, maybe I am a little islander here, but I was a bit like, shouldn't they be British? I just feel like Roald Dahl books are British, and
I agree with you on that, but
I don't
I
want to
love
be
the
a dick. But
film.
when I read Fantastic Mr. Fox, I'm not like, don't worry, we'll get Bogus Bunsen Beans hands. Don't you worry about that. I was like, no, it should sound like he should be a Cockney. He should sound like Danny Dyer. He should be Ray Winston.
No,
He
absolutely
should
not
be
like
Ray
Danny Dyer.
Winston. Oh,
But
fantastic, Mr. Fox, you slag.
I was going to say that I agree with that he shouldn't do all Roald Dahl adaptations. I definitely don't want to see a Wes Anderson BFG, for instance, or a Matilda Wes Anderson. That would not work.
Oh
Those
my
don't
god.
work. But I felt that Fantastic Mr. Fox was a very good in between choice. And that I was a bit skeptical at first as well, because I was like, why is this American adapting a British book? But I love it. And I loved what he did with it. I loved how he did it, while recording the voices while doing all the actions as well at the same time, apart from Meryl Streep, because she wasn't there. But I really loved the animation, and I loved well. I was going to say, you were complaining that it was American voices. Everything was made here in the UK.
I know,
It
but
was
the
shot
voice.
here, and all the animation was done here. So there is some groundwork done in the UK.
No, I know. I would say I would pay for a Wes Anderson Matilda only because one, all the magic bits would be stop motion, and two, Mr. Wormwood would be Bill Murray.
I don't
and
know, not at this age.
and also he'd probably get Frances McDormand to play Trunchbull, and she'd actually be pretty good in that role.
I don't know. I don't think I'd want to see that. I like the Danny DeVito version, even
Danny
though.
DeVito nailed it. I quite like the musical
Yeah.
version.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be honest with you. When we're talking, like, we're not, but Roald Dahl adaptations, I don't want to see Wes Anderson's BFG. I didn't even really want to see Spielberg's BFG.
Nobody thought, the people thought they wanted to, and then when they saw it, they're like, nobody wants this.
Didn't want to see Robert Zemeckis take on the witches either. You're never going to top Angelica Houston. She is the Grand High Witch. She could just do that. She could just rip her face off, man. But
I guess
yeah,
there
I
might
just
be
think
enough. Like some of the smaller Roald Dahl ones, I don't mind. The shorts that he did, I didn't realize he was going to do it in that particular style, but I thought they were okay. They were fun. They did what you want, really. Told the story.
I think Zissou as a film is a victim of time. I think it came out at the wrong time, and if it came out maybe before Moonrise, but after Fantastic Mr. Fox, Darjeeling Limited, whatever that little short film for Darjeeling was called, Hotel Chevalier or
Oh
whatever that
yeah,
was.
Hotel Chevalier. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it came out after that, so like maybe 2012, I think people would like it more. But because it came out after Tenenbaums, I feel like it's a victim of time.
Paul, did you say what your least favorite Wes Anderson film was?
Darjeeling Limited.
Oh, you did, yeah, sorry. So, but even then, those films that we've said are his least. Well, actually, I was going to say the ones we said are our least favorite are still quite good films, but actually, I think Asteroid City is quite annoying, so maybe not.
I agree. Asteroid City should have been the lowest rated, but I also agree that Life Aquatic was a victim of its time. That's basically what we've been saying. Like, if he'd done it later, it would have been better. But yeah, Asteroid City was just, I felt like, was way too many ideas pushed into one film and was not well done. And as I said, I love like I've said this, I love Wes Anderson. And I still want to see Felician Skill and all of this. But Asteroid City was just not a
as
well executed film.
just look, so I know we're looking at Rotten Tomato. I've just got Letterboxd here as well, just to see. I know critics' opinions matter most. That's
Oh,
what we say. No, we don't. I don't really, but it
yes, we
looks.
do.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
The only opinion that matters is
Filmhounds.
yes.
Filmhounds.
There
That's
we
it.
go. There it is. There it is.
Um,
Available in print.
but it looks like, as far as if I've got it in the right order on Letterboxd, that Asteroid Cities is lowest rated, with Phoenician Scheme second lowest, French Dispatch third,
Mm.
fourth lowest. I'm ignoring the rolled R ones. By the way, these are scattered amongst
Yeah,
those.
the shorts don't count for this now.
Um, Life Aquatics fourth lowest, so it's still fairly low down.
I
Um,
just,
That's a shame.
which is yeah, I think so because I think there are good things in Life Aquatic, and I think Willem Dafoe is particularly funny
yeah.
as the blowhard German. You know, when they're picking teams, and he's like, "Thanks for not picking me." I did find some of that, and like just the bits like their action sequences where they're just like running around the ship, like holding little pistol. It's like that is quite it's
Yeah,
funny.
I like
Like he
it.
is a
My favorite
some
bit
of
is
those
when they're
visual
trying to
things are
save
good.
Bud Court. Sorry.
No. Go on, go on.
No, I was just gonna. My favorite bit is with the what's the Mark Mothersbaugh soundtrack. It's just
Yeah,
it's perfect. You know when they're running across the beach to the hotel where the the bank stooge is being held
yeah, yeah.
captive, and they're going to save this guy. I
Yeah.
love that
I
sequence where they're just running to the hotel and they're trying to find him everywhere. Yeah.
I do think there's maybe one too many things going on. The documentary crew, fine. The hunt for the fish, all right. You're doing a kind of Wes Anderson take on Moby Dick. That's kind of funny. The whole stuff with Owen Wilson and Kate Blanchett, I don't think adds anything to the film. And then
It
when you
doesn't.
get to the end where they try to do an emotional bit, it's like the whole film's been this kind of almost like a puppet show of like you know tightly wound choreographed arch comedy that when you try to do an emotion, it's like
What?
it doesn't work, which is weird because it does work in Grand Budapest Hotel. The ending of Grand Budapest is so bittersweet that I find myself quite moved by that ending, and maybe it's F. Murray
Uh,
Abraham, but
I
I find that more moving than this ending.
I don't know. I said before, not. It was slightly jarring, the like the emotional bits with the comedy bits, but I feel like more towards the end they kind of it worked for me because you sensed that Bill Murray's character could have felt like that and wanting kids, and it worked for me. I said I thought Bill Murray was definitely the star in this and held it together. Um,
I I did not. One of the very few things I don't like about this film is Kate Blanchett's accent. I found
What is it?
that jarring. She's meant to be very posh English, but sounding like she's from the 1930s. It's very annoying. And this happens a lot when usually her English accent's good, but sometimes when you hear certain actors put on a British accent when it's not their own, and like actually it's vice versa. Like Simon Pegg's American accent is the worst. I hate hearing it. And
Do you
so
know?
that wasn't. I was going to say this. There was more. I was going to say
Oh, sorry.
that was one of the only things that I hate about it. But I agree with you that the romance with Kate Blanchett and Owen Wilson doesn't really add anything apart from like this weird, annoying triangle where there isn't really a triangle because Steve Zissou doesn't really have an in, but he kind of wants an in, but he does. It's just it just adds to the nonsense, which I quite like. But it does take up time and space that could have been used for something else. And on the emotions side of it, I got very upset and very emotional right at the end. And as I say, Wes Anderson does this. He has a gut punch, weirdly, a gut punch emotional moment where you step back and go, oh,
yeah.
that's actually really sad, or like, oh, that's a lot. And it's when he says, I wonder if he remembers me. And then everyone just goes, oh, and then they just silently put their hand on the shoulder. And I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
That is a good bit.
That's the
That is a
emotion.
lovely moment.
I wrote that down. Wonder if he remembers me.
Yeah, that's just
Um,
like,
Yeah.
the first time I watched it, I was going through my haven't cried for years phase, but now I'm older. I'm just like, oh, that moment made me tear up when I rewatched it
On
because it's a gut punch.
on the accent thing, you said about Simon Pegg. Is the Simon Pegg one because he's so famously British? Like when you think of English actors, Simon Pegg is up there as like, hey, I'm Simon Pegg. What are you doing, man? Oh man, I'm doing this. I'm British. I'm doing Hot Fuzz. I'm doing this. And when he's like, hi, I'm actually running a company in Ready Player One. You're like, why are you doing? Because you know him as British. Like, whereas because there are some English actors that are English, like that, but there's then when you hear the American accent come out of them, you're like, okay, he's an American character. I don't know. But when you hear it from certain people who are famously British, like when you, all right, Michael Caine's a bad example because he's just bad at accents, but he's so Cockney that when you hear him do an accent, you're like, why are you doing that weird thing with your mouth? Like, just be English. Why are you weird?
Michael Caine I'll accept as American in certain things, but like Cider House Rules, he was fine. Like I could that didn't bother me. Like
I
as
thought his
it's
accent
but
was pretty poor. It was a bit
it
like,
was it was fine. Like I like Michael Caine, I'll forgive him on this. I do like
well,
Simon Pegg, but his American accent is grating. It's not just because he's so British and he's usually British and other things. His Scottish accent I thought was perfectly fine in Star Trek. I had no problem with that. But there's just there's just there's just there's just certain actors who put on sometimes like okay, for instance, Johnny Depp, his accent in Sleepy Hollow, perfectly fine. His
yeah,
accent
it's all right.
in From Hell was from hell. It was awful,
I
you
think
know?
as well,
And Russell Crowe doing anything other than his own voice or American.
even
he's
as
good in
American
Marvel
one, right?
films. He's good in Marvel films.
Russell
You will
Crowe.
not do this today, Odin son. I am a Greek man. No more
Oh,
OG for you. You know OG for you, Mr.
Yeah.
Thor. Hello, I am Russell Crowe. I have
Um,
Oscar. I have many
yeah,
awards.
but that accent is definitely
But
the
that's a
same as the
comedy
one in the
accent.
Pope's
yeah.
Pope's exit, the
But
Pope's
also
exorcist.
that's a comedy accent versus like a quasi serious film, which Steve Zissou is not meant to be like. Nobody else is like, hello, I am
Yeah.
also in the film. Like she's meant to just be English. I don't. Kate Blanchett, good at accents, but maybe this one wasn't for her.
It wasn't a win. Well, her Scottish accent isn't a winner either, and that was a voiceover. So,
What was that? What? When did she do a Scottish accent?
Has Trained Dragon too.
I forgot about that.
It's bad.
Okay. Why was Kelly
Like,
McDonald
it's
busy?
stoic. Anyway, sorry, we're
Was Kelly
indulging on this.
Kelly McDonald had a busy schedule and couldn't do it? Okay, because as you know, if you need a Scottish voice, you get Kelly McDonald.
I'd been happy with that.
I don't think it's rotten
No,
because it's so used to his newer films where it's so slick and done well. You could
Mm.
see the start of it. I feel like if this was the same script with his newer techniques and a bit more polished, this could be. You don't agree, Kate? You're pulling the face.
Because I think because it's not flick and it's not clear cut and just
Yeah.
everything's in order, everything's perfect. I think that's why I think it's better than
Yeah.
Asteroid City, for example.
Well, yeah.
But
Actually, I don't even agree with myself. But it's kind of watching the Phoenician scheme the day before and watching this. I could see where it was about to go, and then it kind of
yeah,
didn't do it as slickly as it did, which isn't a bad thing actually.
I,
But
yeah.
it's
I
good. It's
think
good to watch it in the orders to see how he's
I
not
would
even
say
improved, just technically improved. Maybe I don't know.
also, it's a documentary crew. Things on documentaries aren't always slick.
Yeah,
Sometimes they're a bit messy and all over the place.
it is
I
quite
think as
funny watching the documentary
no, sorry, go
crew
ahead.
within the set, which is clearly a set, but there's the documentary crew, and they say, I think it says something like, "It's a documentary," and you're seeing all these boxes of clearly a set, and they're like filming.
Yeah, I mean, I would still say I think it's a lesser Anderson film. I don't think it's Rushmore. I don't think it's Bottle Rocket. I don't think it's Budapest or any of the good ones, or the great ones, I should say. But I don't think it's his worst film. So the fact that it's rotten and it's so far down, I think it is bizarre because I do think that is a factor of now he's become this awful film. He's a film Twitter favorite. Where every film he does is like, there's a new Wes Anderson. This is my whole personality is loving Wes Anderson, and it's like, yeah, but he also can make shit, guys. Like, like a couple of years ago it was Tim Burton, and again, he over-egged the pudding. He overdid it, and people were just like, "Oh, another one with it was Helena Bonham Carter in it. Oh, is there going to be a skeleton? Is there okay? Oh, is Johnny Depp wearing a silly wig? Is he okay? Excellent." And I think that's what's happening with Wes Anderson. Is it's like, oh, is Bill Murray in it? Oh, excellent,
Bill
wonderful.
Murray
Oh, everyone's
wasn't in
wearing
the
a
last
brown
two
suit.
films.
That's probably for the best. But he's still got all his, his regulars. I think it's like I say, Steve Zissou, I think is good, but I don't think it's best. I think it's better than it's got the reputation for.
I think Christopher Nolan's going to be the next one where people finally realize he's not the greatest.
But he's very good.
He's good.
And you don't have to be great at everything. At least try something new.
Unfortunately, he's already made his best film. He already made his greatest film in 2006. It was called The Prestige, and he's never made a film better. And that's okay, because The Prestige is fucking great.
Yes, agreed.
So we all agree Life Aquatic should not be rotten. It's good. We've reclaimed it.
We have reclaimed. We all in agreement.
I agree.
Great.
Remake it with Harrison Ford.
Don't fucking remake it. I hope one thing I will give Wes Anderson, I really hope this doesn't jinx it. He doesn't do sequels.
Which film do you want to see a sequel? Because I'm learning AI. I'm not really.
I don't want any sequel to anything. Nothing needs a sequel. Everything has an ending.
Rushmore 2.
No, don't.
But Schwartzman's a teacher now.
Don't.
He became Bill Murray.
No, well, Bill Murray wasn't a teacher.
I'm thinking of a different film. I'm thinking of a different movie than.
Oh. Wait a minute. Right, we've got to end the episode there. That's how the episode ends. We've reclaimed it on that note.
It's reclaimed. Wes, we've reclaimed it.
And
did it.
It's reclaimed. And the next one we're looking at is, well, we don't need to talk about it now, do we? Because we're not going to record it anytime soon.
Well, also it might change. So we'll be like, next week we're doing this, and then we'll be like, unfortunately, we changed our mind, so we're doing this instead.
Okay, well, thanks for listening to our first Reclaiming the Rotten episode. We will come up with another director at some point in the future and decide if their lowest rated film deserves to be rotten. And I'm going to listen back to all of our podcasts and vote for them either rotten or less rotten.
I think I know which ones he'll count as rotten.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Katie wants to not do Tenet.
Fuck Tenet. Tenet.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Hate it. Never again.